Hey guys, tonight we embark on a timeless journey to a serene garden where each stone holds whispers of history and hidden messages. In the misty morning light, you find yourself standing beside a gardener, not quite an ordinary one. He's more of a listener than a laborer. The air is crisp with the soft scent of damp moss rising from the earth beneath your feet. The rake lies solemn, untouched, as if awaiting instruction from an unseen force. It's one of those tranquil mornings when the world holds its breath, waiting for something to stir. And yet, standing here before the garden, you can sense an age-old wisdom vibrating through this space. But beware, stepping into this enchantment means you might just be captivated forever. Who could resist the call of such enchanting peace? So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Maybe even let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is. It's always nice to see just how far these whispers travel. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. You close your eyes briefly, and as you open them, you're no longer a mere observer, but an integral part of this morning ritual. The gardener stands still, his presence a bridge between you and this living tapestry of nature. His bow is deep slow, a gesture seeping with reverence. While historians debate whether this kind of bow originated from ancient Shinto rituals in Japan, where nature itself is worshipped, you can't help but feel the silent dialogue unfold around you. The moss glistens under the dew, offering a vibrant green carpet that seems to cushion every footfall. The stones are cold, holding on to the cool of the night, even as the first fingers of sunlight try to pry it away. With your senses attuned, you start to hear the subtle symphony of the garden, each element resonating with the next. Unlike the grand historical gardens of Versailles, whose opulence leaves little to the imagination, this place wears its elegance quietly. It's no grandiose display of power, but rather a gentle reminder of the delicate balance of life and time. And as the gardener starts to move, the earth beneath you almost sighs in response. He lifts the rake not as a mere tool, but almost as a delicate brush about to paint the canvas of the ground. In Japanese Zen gardens, it's believed that every stroke in the gravel is a meditation, an attempt to capture the waves and currents of the sea. But it's not just the tales of Japan that echo here. A curious detail piques your interest. A lone twisted tree, standing grandly amidst the arrangement gnarled and ancient, defying the meticulous raked patterns. This tree, you learn, is called a bristlecone pine, known to live for thousands of years, much like the fabled Methuselah, the oldest recorded of its kind found in California. It's a testament to nature's resilience and beauty against time's relentless march. As you watch the gardener, you notice how each movement is deliberate, respectful, a dance of silence and patience, just like historians piecing together the past from scattered shards. He sifts through each grain, each pebble, creating harmony where there was chaos. The air hums with potential, every breath drawn by the garden like a lullaby whispered to the restless. This space, so seemingly simple and unassuming, wraps you in a calm knowing. Nothing is hurried here. Much like life's most meaningful moments, rarely announced with fanfare, but instead arriving softly, changing you forever. You take a deep breath, savoring the hush of the morning, the steady balm it offers to tired minds and weary bodies. Each stone, each moss-covered rock seems to tell you that there is nothing more you need to do right now, nowhere else you need to be. The gardener pauses in his work, perhaps sensing that something new has joined in the chorus of the morning, a bird's call or the gentle rustle of leaves as a breeze stirs them to life. It's in these small, overlooked moments that the garden speaks the loudest, inviting you to lean in to listen, not with your ears, but with your heart. You return your gaze to the gardener, drawing peace from every mindful movement, every precious detail. Here, within these stones and stories, you've found a space that asks nothing from you but to simply be present. In this calm cocoon history, nature and you all intertwined exist peacefully together, whispering secrets long forgotten but never lost. You step gently into the heart of the garden, where stones are the only blooms and sand, the endless sea. The ground beneath you feels different, a grainy crunch as you take each step, the quietude enveloping your mind like a soft, tranquil cocoon. In this landscape where the void is filled with possibility, the air whispers secrets of the past. You wander through a world meticulously crafted to disappear, the art of karesansui unfolding before you. The stones around you are positioned with great care like a conversation in silence. Each one stands as a silent sentinel, timeless and unmoving. These rocks are not peculiar or grandiose. They're familiar like old friends, reborn from the earth's embrace to guide your thoughts. You realize that in ancient times, monks would gather here, finding clarity not in spoken words, but in the spaces between them. This voyage isn't about what you see, but what you come to understand in your journey of stillness. Curiously, historians have yet to find a unanimous consensus on when these gardens first took root. Some speculate their origins to ebb into the teachings of Zen Buddhism, reflection of spiritual beliefs that value simplicity and intuition. Here, the absence of water and flowers is meant to reflect the purity of thought, an echo of tranquility that ripples through the mind like waves in an unseen pond. As you walk, you notice the raked patterns in the sand representing flowing water. It's a paradox, isn't it? The mirage of movement where none exists. Each line is precise a tapestry, woven by monks seeking to harmonize with nature. The sight is mesmerizing, offering a serene contemplation, one that perhaps made these monks abandon their worldly desires for deeper meanings. Unexpectedly, you stumble upon a collection of moss sitting upon stone, and it piques your curiosity. How can such vibrantly green moss thrive where life is sparse? It leans towards an unanswered question of nature and resilience, just like the unpredictable paths of historical debates that have yet to pinpoint the exact reason for these gardens' absence of water and plants. What could have driven humans to fashion beauty from barrenness, to find a lushness in the absence of apparent life? As the moonlight softly illuminates your path, your mind draws toward a tale of a monk who once sat here for days meditating without a word. His impression upon the earth now vanished like breath on a mirror. It's a reminder of the impermanence surrounding you, the fleeting nature of thoughts and memories. The tranquility pulls you in further, inviting a moment to pause and breathe without speaking. Perhaps like countless others before you, this was the intended purpose all along, to touch the core of silence, where the chaos of the world retreats. The garden, with its muted grandeur, encircles you in calmness. Even as your evening exploration persists, the stones emit their timeless whispers, giving life to a tradition as enduring as the human quest for meaning amidst the void. The darkening sky above seems to encourage you to linger in thought a little longer. Here, the world reduces to its elemental components, a fascinating dance of void and presence. You find yourself drawn into the tranquility these monks once knew. The simplicity disguises complexity, and while no answers may come readily, they nestle quietly in the rhythms of the raked sand, the steadfast stones, and the tactile moss. In this sacred place, the Kare-san-sui has unveiled its secrets to you, a passage through history veiled by the eloquence of silence. As your footsteps retrace their way out, you feel the transformations that occurred within, visible only to the introspective eye. You leave the garden behind, yet its imprint lingers like a shadow, a reminder that even in absence there can be profound presence. Your toes sink gently into the soft fabric of your socks as you stand at the edge of a pristine gravel garden. The scene unfolds like an ancient art form, with every stone deliberately chosen, washed clean of imperfections, then laid out with care. Each pebble seems to whisper a tale of distant shores and forgotten times, as if they were once pieces of a long-lost mosaic, now harmonized in this tranquil space. As you gaze across this carefully curated landscape, you notice how the gravel isn't just scattered haphazardly. Far from it. An intricate design emerges. Its raked curves mimic the gentle ebb and flow of waves, or perhaps the fleeting tendrils of mist curling over unseen memories of mountain vistas. The artistry here is an homage to those ancient Japanese Zen gardens, the ones that have been cultivated for centuries, intended to both mirror and embody the universe in miniature. With each deliberate stroke of the rake, a gardener breathes life into the gravel. Even now, experts ponder whether these gardens were meant purely as places of meditation, or if, as some believe, they also encoded sacred stories within their patterns. Such mysteries remain much like the enigmatic aura that seems to hover over the entire scene. The elegance is palpable, but its preservation requires an almost ceremonial caution. A misplaced footstep could scatter the painstakingly arranged stones, dissolving their flow into chaos. To prevent such disruptions, gardeners step gingerly on placed wooden boards. These planks might creak with age, but they serve as silent pathways over the granular sea, whisking them with ghostly grace over the landscape. As you journey further into the garden, an unexpected realization dawns on you. You probably won't survive this, at least not in a metaphorical sense. This gem of tranquility is so beguiling that it stands to dissolve any preoccupations with the mundane, threatening to transport you to a more serene plane of existence. And isn't that just the point of these places? Despite their aesthetic simplicity, The gravel gardens are deceptively complex. Historians still debate whether their origins stem from imported Chinese landscapes infused with spiritual significance or evolved independently as meditative aids for monks seeking enlightenment. Whichever the case, the meticulous craftsmanship speaks to an unending quest for balance and calm amidst the unpredictable chaos of life. And as you ponder these ideas, remember this: all it takes is a subtle shift in your perspective, a mental rake of sorts to find harmony within yourself, just as the gardeners manifest beauty in the curves of stone. In a world that often feels unsteady and unpredictable, this entrusted stillness offers a peculiar comfort. But before you delve too deeply into introspection, here's a cheeky reminder. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely connect with these calm explorations. Your journey isn't solitary. People from all over the world are tuning in, each with their own local time, seeking the same sense of peace and understanding. Now dim, the lights maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together as you allow the rhythmic movements of gravel underfoot to envelop your senses. Envision yourself amidst the garden's silent embrace. With each breath and every step, you become a part of this serene landscape, bearing witness and perhaps even adding your own story to its gentle, eternal symphony. Among the tranquil gardens entwined with paths of raked gravel and towering bamboo, your journey unfolds beneath a gentle sky painted with the soft hues of twilight. You find yourself meandering through this serene landscape, each footstep a quiet whisper across the earth. Nearby, a monk absorbed in his task shapes the gravel with a rake unlike any you've seen. It's a tool born of time's patience and wisdom, crafted from a single piece of wood, its teeth evenly spaced, casting shadows like slivers of night on the pale ground. Tonight you stand on the brink of understanding a world where rakes are more than simple tools. They are echoes of an ancient art, a dance between chaos and harmony that begins and ends with the quiet scratch upon the gravel. Some rakes are fashioned from bamboo, their flexibility a testament to nature's resilience. Others are crafted from sturdy wood, a marriage of strength and grace. A few, rare and glinting, are wrought from metal, their purpose seemingly defying the gentle whispers of the gardens they serve. Your eyes wander to the monk, whose hands move with careful precision, a living reminder of a past where monks were said to carve their own rakes. This tradition whispers that the crafting of a rake is as much a part of the meditation as the act of raking itself. Each groove, each curve of the wood reflects the spirit of its maker, a personal footprint in the sand, unique to the soul who wields it. As you observe, the rake's teeth leave lines in the gravel parallel and perfect. You realize that tooth spacing is crucial. Too close, the lines converge, losing their definition like ink bleeding across a page. Too far apart, and the coherent waves break into islands separated by oceans of empty space. Each line is a narrative unto itself, a ripple in a pond that tells stories of balance and asymmetry. Standing quietly, you think of the famous gardens of Kyoto, where gravel is raked daily into patterns that mimic the flow of water, honoring a centuries-old tradition. Here you learn that the art of raking is about more than arranging stones. It's about creating harmony in the disarray. This knowledge beams brightly, much like the teachings of the Zen gardens, where simplicity heralds enlightenment in the smallest gestures. The monk pauses, lifting the rake, and with a graceful motion begins again. This time the gravel barely shifts beneath his touch, a gentle caress that leaves only a whisper of a mark. You marvel at this subtlety, wondering how something so slight can suggest entire horizons. Perhaps you think the true mastery lies in knowing when to let the garden speak in its own voice, to touch with such gentleness that the earth itself becomes an echo of serenity. Historians still debate whether the origins of this practice lie in ancient China or Japan. Over the centuries, its purpose has evolved, blending myth and cultural heritage into a seamless tapestry. Some suggest that early monks might have been inspired by the landscapes of distant shores, crafting abstract representations of mountains and rivers as a way to channel contemplation and focus. As you reflect, the soft breeze rustles the trees nearby, their leaves, murmuring secrets only the gardens know. With each stroke of the rake, you see more than lines in sand. You witness harmony as it smiles and stretches across time and tradition. Imperfections in the patterns remind you that perfection is not the goal. It's the pursuit of balance, a lifelong journey mirrored in the subtle art of arranging gravel. You carry this thought like a pebble in your pocket, comforted by its presence. As the light fades and the garden slips into shadow, it's only in the dimness that you realize how the day has woven these lessons into the fabric of your thoughts. An intricate pattern, visible in the gentle quiet of the night. As the story of rakes and gardens nestles into the corners of your mind, you find solace in the rituals of old. This balance between structure and nature, intention and accident, sings to you in profound simplicity, inviting you to walk softly and listen with openness. The night unfolds, and questions linger like unspoken prayers upon your lips. But here in the calm, those questions are cradled gently by the rhythm of the rake, lulling you into a thoughtful peace that carries you into the embrace of sleep, where dreams and reality merge in the quiet symphony of this garden of time. Around you, the garden stretches out like a peaceful dream, alive with the rhythmic rasp of the rake as it glides over the gravel. You kneel by the ancient stone at the garden's heart. Your fingers brush against its cool surface, worn smooth by the passage of countless years, and you begin to rake a circle around it. One thoughtful, deliberate pull at a time. As your hands move, your thoughts wander back to the gardener of Kyoto's Ryoan-ji, a tranquil temple known for its rock garden, a masterpiece of Zen. You wonder if that gardener saw each circle as a lifetime, just as you do now. The story goes that despite seemingly random placement, the stones there are meant to evoke the boundless sea or open sky, capturing the vastness of the universe within a compact courtyard. Yet surprisingly, no one can see all the stones from any single vantage point, not even the monk himself, as if reminding us of the limits of perception. Your rake pauses, allowing a moment of reflection. You find yourself smiling at this small imperfection, a delightful mystery, perhaps akin to how life teases us with what it chooses to reveal or conceal. Historians still debate whether the stone's placement was meant to be imperfect, a deliberate exercise in embracing the incomplete, or simply an aesthetic choice lost to time. But what everyone agrees on is that these gardens offer a place of stillness in a frenetic world, a place for the mind to rest and reset in silent conversation with nature and history. You start again drawing another circle. This one's slightly off center, like the veering path of a distant moon on its cosmic journey. And just as moons are wont to do, this adds charm, a gentle reminder that not everything in life needs to be perfectly aligned. It's a wonderfully liberating notion, isn't it? Nature doesn't mind arcs that stroll a bit off the curve or circles with a playful tilt. As you continue, the rake glides along, offering no judgment on your asymmetrical artistry. These rings, like years or breaths, accumulate around the stone. Each layer of gravel turned over, with the rake's tender caress, is like revealing secrets long held by the earth. Historical texts reveal the rake as more than just a tool. It is a storyteller on its own, a quiet historian capturing the transient beauty of each moment, each movement of your hands, turning time back on itself. And while it's tempting to think that the perfect garden was untouched, keep in mind that it, like you, undergoes constant change, weathering seasons, reinventing itself with rain and wind. Another layer of gravel rearranges under your care, and you think of how the rake in its listening echoes the gardens of old Japan, which nourished not just the monks, but also animals. It's said that deer would wander into these hallowed spaces, perhaps drawn by an unseen magnetism. Despite their antics, one amusing tale imagines a deer nonchalantly rearranging stones with an interested nudge. Such gardens remained places of uninterrupted tranquility. With each pass of the rake, you are reminded of those lithely stepping deer, moving as softly as brushed velvet, reinforcing how, even in imperfection, calmness prevails, nurtured by the garden's natural guardians. Looking at your work, a serene symmetry emerges interspersed with moonbeamed circles, each a testament to your reflection. It mirrors ancient traditions, and yet feels profoundly personal. The understanding that you don't need to strive for precision in every detail allows your mind to wander like the deer, finding its own path under a gentle canopy of starlight, woven with the whisper of cicadas. Just as your thoughts settle, a gentle breeze rustles through nearby branches, rustling leaves like a whisper across the ages from a time when these gardens served as places of contemplation for samurai warriors. These gardens were not just refuges. They were theaters where life's transience was observed, respected, even revered. You think of the samurai perhaps like you, pausing at stones, letting go of battles and strategic plans, raking the earth to make sense of the world beyond their control. Did their circles, too, have slight imperfections? Most likely. Yet their wisdom, like the stones, remains steadfast and enduring. Satisfied with your work, you step back, contemplating the rings of time encircling the steadfast stone. The garden with its elliptical history offers its solace, a place where all thoughts take a breath, where the sturdy rake listens in stoic contentment, and where you find your own story gently etched in the gravel. The night stretches onward, and you feel the quiet echo of history warmly wrapping around you like a soft lullaby. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Share in the comments where you're tuning in from and the local time. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. As you begin your walk through the hushed morning air, the Zen garden stretches before you, a woven tapestry of textures and shades. The faintest breeze shuffles through the air, gently teasing loose the order that the monk painstakingly embraced yesterday. Today, the patterns born of methodical raking have been softened, erased, like an ephemeral thought written on dew-kissed grass. Each movement you make is highlighted by the crunch of pebbles beneath your feet, evoking an ancient ritual that speaks not only to the stone, but to the soul. The early light drapes itself over the raked lines, revealing the elegance of simplicity. You find yourself mentally tracing each line, feeling the cool stones in your fingers. Sometimes it feels as if you are retracing the path walked by countless monks before you, their thoughtful hands laboring over this same sacred canvas. The idea that no Zen garden is ever done strikes you as wise and soothing, removing the burden of finality and perfection. Historians muse over whether these gardens first appeared during the Kamakura period or earlier around the 14th century. The earliest gardens are rumored to have served as a setting for monks to meditate on the non-permanence of life, using nature as a silent guide. Yet the true origins remain shrouded in time, like a forgotten melody that softly lingers at the edge of memory. An unusual detail catches your wandering gaze, a single swallow darting through the cool morning sky. Its fleeting presence is a gentle reminder of how nature's own artists claim their space in the garden. This bird, unknowing and indifferent to human ideals of neatness or order, leaves marks on the garden by virtue of its flight, silent notes in an unread poem, messy yet beautifully spontaneous. You're reminded that this intricate dance between human touch and nature's whims has roots in the very unique art of karesansui, or dry landscape gardening. Here lies the secret, an elegant cohabitation of stones, raked gravel and mossy patches, each selected not for their beauty alone, but for the role they play in the dialogue of daily change. The art itself seems straightforward, but indeed, to truly understand it is to embrace the grace in its unpredictability. You pause on your path and spot the monk unfazed by the wind's nightly edits. He moves with deliberate calm, a quiet figure in robes whose age is hard to determine, as if he too is part of the eternal landscape. His hands guide the rake in an unhurried dance, each stroke a soft sound whispered against the earth's surface. He neither fights the wind nor laments yesterday's traces, understanding deeply that both are necessary contributors to the garden's evolving story. The monk's actions seem curious at first. Why continue a task knowing the wind will blow anew tomorrow? Why arrange the gravel into transient patterns that only last a day? Perhaps here lies the heart of Zen, teaching an elegant patience and acceptance that lie intertwined within daily practice. The rhythmic movements of the monk's raking envelope you in a serene calm. It brings to mind how Zen gardens have always been more than a physical space. They are a sensory and spiritual experience intended to engage more than the eye. You begin to see that you too are part of this unfolding story. Each step adding your own mark mute, like the winds soft like the birds. The garden invites you to linger, to sit in stillness alongside its timeless companions, its stones and sands, and reflect on the reciprocal relationship between change and continuity. You relish this moment of connection, knowing full well how tomorrow will bring new waves of creation. Each morning's rebirth allows you to let go of the day before freeing your mind in playful uncertainty. And so the day drifts on a soft embrace as shadows start to lengthen and the light grows softer. The monk finishes his daily gentle art, not with a final masterpiece declared complete, but with a living work pledged to the future's rewriting. You glance down again at the pebbles now glowing with late afternoon's kiss, each one meticulously placed a significant part of the whole, yet utterly transient. Now as the evening falls, you find yourself winding down with the day's soft closure. The garden moves you to introspection as much as it opens you to tranquility. The deliberate quiet allows the wisdom of this place to seep into you with each lesson carried gently on the evening's breeze, waiting to be recalled at the edge of waking where dreams await. In the tranquility of this shared experience between you, the garden and its tireless guardians, a peaceful calm descends, guiding you softly toward your own night's repose and the unhurried dreams that lie ahead. The stones beneath your feet seem to speak in their silent language, each one a whisper from another time, a story unfurling in the soft moonlight. You wander through a place where stone placement isn't merely art, it's a form of storytelling. A tall stone stands confidently, perhaps reaching toward the heavens like a mighty mountain, its shadow stretching far and wide, consuming the smaller rocks with its grand narrative. This one you think could be Everest, challenging you to climb its formidable face, testing your courage against nature's whimsy. Then there's a flat, unassuming stone resting on the earth with a quiet dignity. Maybe it's an island, a respite from life's tumultuous seas, offering a sanctuary to the weary. Columbus might have sought it a patch of ground amidst the unforgiving ocean, his heart swelling with relief at the sight of land. How fascinating that this stone could be both so ordinary and so extraordinary all at once. Nearby, 3 stones huddle together, resembling a family, perhaps a crane, and its 2 young nestled close, protective yet wild against the unknown. No signs dictate their meanings, demanding instead that you dive into your mind, creating tales woven from memory and imagination. You think of Zen gardens where simplicity reigns supreme. Historians still debate whether these arrangements were purely aesthetic or spiritual, with each stone delicately placed to convey a message beyond human language. Yet here, you stand feeling not just as an observer, but a participant in this timeless story. Overhead, the stars twinkle faintly dimmed by the glow of the moon. You recall the tale of the first human-built stone structures, those Neolithic monuments crafted with painstaking precision long after the last dinosaur roamed the earth. Despite your cozy surroundings, you're oddly aware of how little you'd survive in a world reliant solely on stone and determination. As you venture forth, your mind draws a parallel with ancient navigators like the Polynesians, who read the waves and winds, guided only by the stars and their understanding of nature's hidden whispers. It was their craft to recognize patterns invisible to others, just as you now uncover narratives carved in lifeless stone. A gentle breeze stirs around you, carrying with it the scent of aged leaves and moist earth. This place, though quiet and still, is alive with its own kind of magic. You let your fingers trail over the stones, their cool surfaces oddly comforting, grounding you in this moment where the past and present coalesce. You find yourself wondering about those who first set these stones, their motivations shrouded in the mists of time. Perhaps they were architects of dreams, laying foundations not just of rock but of hope. A hope for understanding, for legacy, for connection with those who might tread this path after them. Yet here, amid the silent stones, there's no voice to affirm their intent. Only your heartbeat steady and sure, sharing a rhythm with this unspoken history. It's not just the stones that tell tales. Further along the gentle slope of the ground hints at stories of lands shaped by nature's hand, a detail that would intrigue any historian. Long ago, it might have been part of a bustling community, now reclaimed by time, and nature swallowed in the dance of growth and decay. As you sit beside a small cluster of round stones, you remember an unusual detail. In some cultures, stones were believed to house spirits, guardians watching over the land. Perhaps here, too, they serve as silent sentinels, keeping a watchful eye over you as night descends. Historians remain uncertain about the precise purpose of complex arrangements found in ancient dwellings. Were they mere markers or something more? Guides for the stars to turn their gaze upon earth, illuminating paths unseen by ordinary eyes. These moments of reflection tie you to adventures beyond your own, and you feel the serenity of this knowledge calming your thoughts. Surrounded by these venerable stones, you settle into your surroundings, allowing your imagination the freedom to wander. A lone bird calls out its notes, slicing through the stillness. Once a scholar suggested the idea that stones could be musical instruments of the earth struck by the wind, telling a story of their creation through sound. You consider this the possibility of the unyielding earth singing you to sleep. The thought brings a smile to your face, as does the sensation of warm contentment enveloping you, just like the gentle touch of a lullaby. The night stretches onward, a tapestry rich with narratives spun from stone and shadow, as you slowly find yourself drifting into dreams of your own designs. The rain doesn't stop you. Rather, it accompanies you like a fellow traveler as you step into the garden. The rhythmic patter of droplets transforms into a gentle symphony as you take up the rake, its familiar wooden handle fitting comfortably in your grip. With each stroke, you draw waves through the wet, soft sand, feeling the quiet resistance of the earth beneath your fingers. The soil, darkened by the rain, seems to exhale, releasing a rich, earthy aroma that mingles with the fresh scent of the rain. Isn't it intriguing how rain, often seen as a harbinger of gloom, brings the garden to life in its own way? As you move the rake, you might imagine each line to be a stroke of a quill, writing poetry upon the sand. The garden, with its droplets glistening like gems, mirrors the appearance of fresh ink on parchment. Some monks say this is when the sand is most alive. It's almost as if the grains, stirred by the rake's gentle touch, whisper ancient secrets of the world. This subtle art form, a practice known as kansho, has deep roots in history, with early records of Zen monks using raked sand gardens as a means to meditate. Kanei-ji Temple in Tokyo, for example, is famed for its exquisitely detailed rock gardens designed by monks to mimic the intricate patterns found in nature. It's fascinating to think that what might appear as simple lines to a casual observer are actually intentional paths leading the mind toward a state of peaceful contemplation. You might chuckle softly at the idea that something so serene could carry historical weight. Yet isn't that the essence of life's contradictions? Take, for instance, how historians still debate whether the patterns we now consider essential to Zen gardens were in fact a deliberate creation or simply an aesthetically driven evolution over centuries. The wet landscape invites every stroke, urging you to lose yourself in the rhythmic dance of the rake, the sand, and the rain. This is no ordinary garden. It's a canvas that invites interpretation, where every line tells a story. As the rain persists softly, drumming against stones, and leaves the world around you fades, leaving peace and tranquility behind. Your movements are almost automatic now, a dance between you and the elements. With each breath, you feel more grounded, more connected to this ancient tradition. It's a beautiful thought that you are part of a long line of gardeners and monks who have found solace in the simple act of raking sand, a timeless pursuit shared throughout history. Above a small puddle ripples as a raindrop finds its way in. Yet instead of disrupting the surface, it merges seamlessly, becoming one with the whole. And in that moment you ponder, are we not the same, each of us, just raindrops in a vast puddle of humanity? As you continue your work, you feel a sense of calm wash over you, akin to a soothing lullaby. Rain may not halt the rake, but instead it transforms the world around it, bringing life depth and a unique kind of joy that only comes when one is truly present in the moment. You pause to admire the patterns you've made. They'll vanish beneath a fresh sheet of rain soon enough, just like stories written in ink eventually fade. Yet what remains is the experience, the quiet understanding that the most alive things can be touched by serenity, especially in a silvery, rain-drenched garden. As you breathe in this tranquil scene, remember you probably won't survive this surge of calm if you keep dreaming about deadlines and emails. Just kidding. Put them aside for now. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, why not let me know where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you? Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The garden stretches before you, the sand raked into precise patterns, reminiscent of the waves lapping a distant shore. With each step, you take the crunch of gravel underfoot, mingles with the gentle rustle of leaves, creating a symphony of quietude. Perhaps you marvel at how something so simple can be so captivating. Historians still debate whether Zen gardens originated in the 14th or 15th century, leaving us to wonder about the hands that first sculpted sand into serenity. The irregular patterns are designed not just for beauty, but to provoke thought and reflection on nature's imperfections. Your journey takes a turn as you notice a lone monk clad in robes, faded by the sun, starts to walk across the freshly raked sand. Each steps leaves a footprint in the carefully curated patterns. It's not thoughtless vandalism. It's a moment of deliberate impermanence. A reminder that what is constructed can also be easily disrupted. Yet its beauty remains undiminished, living on in memory. Curious, you watch as the monk strides slowly, a small smile playing on his lips, as if sharing a secret with the universe. His pace is unhurried, each footfall a graceful punctuation mark in the tapestry of the garden. It seems to be a ritual one that echoes the philosophy of life's transience. Just as the sand patterns will be reset tomorrow, life is a series of appearances and disappearances. Did you know that in early Zen philosophy, walking meditation, or kin-hin, serves as a bridge between the stillness of seated meditation and the movement of daily life? It's an elegant dance between mindfulness and movement, akin adding a few drops of ink to clear water and watching the ripples expand. You're reminded of those leisurely walks you take around your neighborhood, where every turn and every step offers a chance to notice the world anew. Whether it's the shape of a shadow casting its net across the sidewalk, or the brilliance of a flower pushing its way through a crack in the pavement, beauty is all about perspective. As the Zen garden stretches behind you now, slightly marred but profoundly enriched by the monk's passage, you come upon a stone lantern. It's perched like a sentinel, its presence rooted in the landscape, as if it has always existed there. You recall a fragment of trivia. The stone lanterns in Japanese gardens symbolize illumination, both physical and spiritual. They emerged from the Heian period, finding their way into gardens as vital symbols of enlightenment. In that ethereal twilight, as the creeping shadows of evening inch closer, you're tempted to touch the lantern's stone surface, tracing its time-worn curves. The stone feels cool against your fingertips, smooth in some places, textured in others, where the rain has taken its toll over centuries. The gentle whisper of the wind catches your attention, carrying with it the rustle of leaves and the distant call of a nightbird. It's as if nature itself is singing a lullaby, coaxing the garden to rest, allowing the day's impressions to sink into the deep soil of memory. In the garden's center, a small pond perfectly mirrors the sky, capturing the indigo hues of dusk. The water surface is still the silence, only punctuated by the occasional ripple from a drifting leaf, sending tremors across your reflection. much like those leaves and the monk's footprints. The tranquility of the pond reminds you of the fleeting nature of experience. Across the water, lanterns flicker to life along the path, casting a golden glow that dances between the leaves. Their light is soft, almost a gentle touch against the night, harmonizing with the stars that begin to blink awake in the firmament above. Paths may be made to disappear or to transform, as the soulful march of the monk demonstrated. It's a celebration of moments meant to be cherished and eventually let go. You understand now that just like the carefully raked patterns in the sand life is a mosaic of transient beauty, appreciated best as it is being lived. The garden fades into the distance as you cross its threshold, thoughts turned inward, lingered upon by the lessons of ephemeral beauty. You take each step deliberately mindful of what you saw tracing each leaf and ripple with renewed appreciation. Tonight, as you rest your head on the pillow, let the echoes of the garden follow you into dreams, where the sand and stones whisper their ancient secrets, and the monk's footprints chart the path to tranquility. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. Stepping lightly along the pebbled path, you are drawn to a vista that is much more than meets the eye. Before you lies a seamless blend of the present and the distance where the pine-covered hills beyond the garden's boundary melt into your gaze, captured perfectly within its structure. This is shake-borrowed scenery, an ancient Japanese art form that turns what is beyond reach into an inherent part of the garden's canvas. The art's origins are obscured in time, with scholars piecing together fragments of history and legend, suggesting its use dates back centuries in the gardens of Kyoto. Some historians still debate whether shake was devised as an intentional philosophy or simply an artistic happenstance, much like the spontaneous arrangement of rocks left by a receding tide. As you stroll deeper into the garden, the gravel crunching softly underfoot, your thoughts are interrupted by the gentle whisper of the wind through the bamboo stalks. It's this very essence, the unseen force of nature, that plays a pivotal role in the garden's grand design. Here, nature doesn't just coexist with artistry. It collaborates, improvises, and surprises. Even the famous Zen monk Muso Soseki might have chuckled at how effortlessly the wind and shadows have taken their place as architects drafting new designs with every breeze, just like a cosmic duet. You pause beside a small pond, noticing how the reflection of the sky seems to dance among the koi swimming beneath. Water has forever been a source of sustenance and wonder, as vital in a garden as the seeds of inspiration that first prompted its creation. It's whispered through ancient scrolls that a master gardener once inspired by a particularly vivid sunset flooded his entire garden at dusk, capturing the fiery colors in its mirrored surface, much to the delight and perhaps alarm of the local villagers. Inwardly amused by the thought, you continue on entering a grove where the heady fragrance of jasmine is carried on the breeze. A nightingale sings once more, a haunting lullaby of sorts, reminding you that Zen gardens aren't confined to their physical boundaries. They stretch beyond joining forces with nature's orchestra in a melody that has played for centuries each night for a receptive listener. Pause for a moment here, and you might sense the delicate tension between order and wildness. The carefully raked sand and the natural artistry of moss-covered stones suggest a harmonious balance. It's this dichotomy, a dance between intention and serendipity, that makes each garden unique. Consider this: in Kyoto's renowned Ryoanji, the famed rock garden is said to reveal itself differently, with each visit its pattern of rocks described at times as meticulously planned, while others claim an ancient monk chose their locations by pure intuition. Sitting here feeling the cool embrace of the evening air, you realize that the true heart of a Zen garden might be its invitation to reflect on nature, on beauty, and on the silent conversation between the crafted paths and the wild landscapes that inspire them. You begin to see how such a simple concept as borrowed scenery extends beyond mere aesthetic into philosophy, urging you to find peace within and without in both nature's simplicity and its infinite complexity. Soon your path curves gently back toward the entrance where the lanterns still cast their gentle glow like old companions welcoming you home. You notice a subtle change in yourself, an unhasting, serene rhythm, matching the real-time moment, as if the garden quietly whispered its secrets of timelessness and patience into your heart. And as you leave, there's an air of gratitude for not just the peaceful garden, but also for the unseen hills and distant trees that lent their presence to create an experience beyond any single element. Their outlines shrouded in shadow, and moonlight will linger long after you step beyond the gate, much like an old song or a beloved tale, to revisit in dreams or waking thoughts hereafter. Guided by the garden's story, your journey tonight transforms from a simple quiet walk into a gentle reminder of nature's ability to touch the spirit and soul. A borrowed glance, a whispering breeze, and a song echoed through stone and water hold the power to softly illuminate even the most shadowed corners of your mind. As you step into the garden, the mist clings to the dawn, like a gentle veil softly enveloping the world in quiet whispers. Your feet touch the dew-kissed ground, and each step feels as if you're connecting with the earth itself. It's here in this serene tapestry of greens and browns that Raking transforms from mere task to an enchanting ritual. The air is still yet filled with anticipation, as if the very garden holds its breath awaiting your gentle touch. You pick up the wooden rake, feeling its smooth handle nestled comfortably in your hands. Its presence is familiar, akin to an old friend, reliable and steadfast. With a soft exhale, you begin moving forward with intention. As you advance across the garden, the rake combs through the pebbles and leaves, shaping patterns into the earth, a quiet symphony of movement. The rhythm is soothing. Advance, pull, lift. Advance, pull, lift. Your breath falls in sync, each motion accompanied by a gentle sigh of contentment. Just like the meticulous steps of a tea ceremony, where each action holds meaning, your raking becomes a dance of grace and stillness. It's an art form akin to calligraphy, where the strokes you leave behind tell a story yours the garden's, and the many seasons it has seen. Some patches of earth require only a few delicate strokes, creating simple lines, reminiscent of a minimalist painter's vision. Other areas, vast expanses of scattered leaves, resemble intricate seascapes with undulating waves, frozen in time under your care. The garden responds in kind its textures and patterns, reflecting your mood and movements. As you work, you realize that this symphony of tranquility stretches back across the centuries, a shared melody with gardeners of old. Long ago, in the Zen gardens of Japan, monks perfected the art of raking gravel into patterns that mimicked the ocean, creating islands of solitude and reflection amidst their walls of silence. Historians often ponder whether these monks felt the same harmony and connection with the earth that you now experience. Perhaps they too found comfort in this rhythmic communion, each stroke a step closer to mindful peace. And within this dance, there's magic, the kind that surprises and delights. You notice a tiny bird hopping near its curiosity, sparked by the changes you're making. It's as if nature herself sends an emissary to witness your gentle crafting. The bird's sudden presence is a reminder of the simple wonder that exists in the world, often unnoticed in our bustling lives. As you continue to rake, you're reminded that gardens thrive on this kindness, this attention to detail. There's a whisper of uncertainty, too. Scholars still debate whether the patterns created in these sacred spaces were meant only for aesthetic pleasure, or if they hid deeper meanings, messages in the stones, as layered and complex as the history they quietly observe. Raking, then, isn't just about clearing leaves or sculpting sand. It's about creating a connection across time and space, blending the present moment with echoes of the past. You find yourself engulfed in this gentle ritual, lost to the world beyond the garden's edge. The motions become instinctual, and as time slips by, you're both anchored and free. With every advance, pull, and lift, you gather glimpses of stillness and calm, a silent hymn that resonates within. Raking, like life, has its rhythm, a soothing cadence that eases the mind and soul. You gently finish the patterns, complete the earth now, a canvas of your movements. Looking back, you see the garden transformed, a harmonious blend of order and natural beauty. The mist begins to lift, revealing a morning warmed by your presence and effort, yet still cool with the promise of day. As you step away from the garden, the quiet satisfaction follows you, a warm embrace that lingers even as the world begins to awaken with the sun's first rays. Before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Feel free to share where you're joining from and what time it is for you. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You step forward with a sense of curiosity. The path ahead, a carefully composed dance of stones and sand, beckons you to explore its asymmetrical beauty. Here you find that no part of the garden mirrors another. Instead, it's a balanced imbalance, each irregularity purposefully placed. There's a stone heavier, more textured on one side, as if leaning into contemplation. Next to it, a soft mound of moss gently rises, contrasting the harshness of its larger neighbor. This isn't a flaw, but a deliberate statement. You are reminded of the Japanese concept of wabi-sabi, which finds beauty in imperfection. It's a philosophy that once fascinated many, including the revered tea master Sen no Rikyu, who famously said, "True beauty lies in things that quietly betray their imperfections." Historians still debate whether the first Zen gardens, also known as Kare-sansui, emerged during the rise of Zen Buddhism in the 14th century, or if they were influenced by earlier spiritual landscapes. Regardless, these gardens served as physical manifestations of Zen teachings, reflecting simplicity, tranquility, and a kind of beautiful irregularity. As you wander further, your attention is drawn to how raked sand patterns ripple like waves on water. You can almost see the patient hand of a monk behind these designs, meditating on each stroke as a form of spiritual discipline. It's said that creating these patterns was akin to capturing the ocean's gentle unrest. Yet historians still debate whether specific sand styles held particular symbolic meaning, or if they were simply aesthetic choices of each temple. Just as your eyes wander over the garden, you find your thoughts drifting across time's vast sea. You recall hearing about Ryoan-ji in Kyoto, one of the most famous Zen gardens. While visitors often attempt to count all 15 stones in its array from any single viewpoint, one stone invariably remains hidden, its absence creating a sense of mystery, a nudge to realize that some truths are forever just out of reach, echoing the human condition. However, what might surprise you is the involvement of koi fish in some of these gardens. This wasn't purely for aesthetics. Some old tales suggest that the vivid fish served as living elements of unpredictability, a colorful break from the muted stone, and sand a lively reminder that nature, much like our lives, is in constant flux. You pause and breathe deeply, feeling the peace that such careful imperfection brings. All around, the deliberate asymmetry of the garden coaxes your eyes to move gently, tracing paths that were not immediately obvious. It's as if the garden itself is inviting you to embrace not knowing, urging you to see beyond the perfection-seeking gaze we're so accustomed to. Much like the whispered teachings of Zhuangzi, an ancient Chinese philosopher who posed that the world is in constant transformation, the garden teaches you that beauty isn't found in static perfection, but in the flowing, changing dance of nature's elements. Embrace the slightly tilted stone, the shadowy corners, the wayward breeze. Each imperfection gracefully speaks volumes to your sense of wonder and reflection, leaving an indelible mark on your journey through this intimate pocket of the world. The soft scrape of the rake isn't noise, it's thought aloud. As you listen, the rhythmic sound weaves a tapestry of ideas in the air, each gentle scratch on the earth's surface, echoing the pulse of contemplation. You can almost imagine the monk, his robes brushing quietly along the path as he rakes the garden sands into mesmerizing patterns. The rake moves with deliberate purpose, like wind through reeds, whispering secrets as it goes. You stand in the garden of Ryoan-ji, a place where time seems suspended, where every stone and each carefully placed pebble tells a story of its own. This rock garden, dating back to the late 15th century, invites you to lose yourself in its simplicity. It's interesting to note that although many believe the garden reflects aspects of Zen Buddhism, historians still debate whether it was intentionally designed with specific philosophical meanings in mind, or if its beauty lies in the freedom it offers each individual to interpret it as they will. The presence of a monk raking the garden is an age-old tradition. You watch and listen, entranced by the rhythm, and wonder how such a simple act could hold such depth. The monk's face is serene, almost serene, to the point where you wonder if it's humanly possible to be that peaceful. Each movement of the rake seems to guide the thoughts of both the monk and the observer, drawing them into a dance of introspection. Listeners often remark that the sound of the rake on small gravel resembles the rustle of old paper. An entire library's worth of unforeseen stories being turned over. It's like running your fingers gently over the pages of an ancient book, feeling the texture and weight of every sentence throughout the ages. There's a light irony in such comparisons, given that much like a book, the garden tells no explicit story, but rather offers a landscape in which your imagination can roam. Like the sound of the rake, these stones have a simplicity that unveils complex, layered history. Consider the lone traveler who might have crossed paths with a garden like this centuries ago, perhaps unknowing they just experienced the birthplace of a philosophy. Just imagine being one of those travelers, pausing to appreciate the not quite silence that envelops such a space. And it's here within this stillness that the monk offered a profound insight, saying that the sound of the rake tells him whether his mind is too loud or too still. There's a subtle wisdom in recognizing the balance. He describes an equilibrium between chaos and complete silence, between the known and the unknown. It's a gentle reminder that sometimes the most eloquent thoughts arrive unspoken, carried on the wind, waiting for the perfect sound to evoke them. As you stand there, you also remember a surprising detail about the rocks. Some people claim that no matter where you stand in the garden, only 14 of the 15 rocks are visible at any one time. Legends say the 15th can only be seen by reaching enlightenment. It's intriguing and gives you yet another reason to reflect. Do you see the 14? Or maybe there's a tiny glimpse of the 15th teasing your vision at the edge of view. Perhaps it's this unfinished sight, this perpetual incompleteness that draws people in. As the monk goes about his task, a comforting breeze rustles through nearby branches, and you realize that life itself is much like this garden, raked neatly yet always quietly, changing, evolving, shaping itself around you. The day fades colors, shifting subtly in the sky, and the garden bathes in the soft glow of evening light. Just as you would with the scrape of the rake, you listen. Here, under the calm sky, you are reminded that the world's narratives, like the stones and patterns of the garden, can state truths or simply suggest them, leaving them to echo in the whispers of gravel and the dance of shadows. Under the tender murmur of the rake, You drift into the riddle of its lines, feeling the gentle nudge of Zen's enduring question. When is your mind too loud, and when does silence echo too much? The garden offers no answers, only the comforting promise of the soft scrape, a reminder to listen more closely to the things that speak without words. You find yourself standing in the stillness of early morning, the air cool and crisp against your skin. As you look ahead, a vast Zen garden stretches before you, like a serene canvas of raked gravel and carefully placed stones. This is Ryoan-ji, one of Japan's most famous Zen gardens, though you might never have guessed its reputation from the simplicity of its design. You find yourself on the wooden porch, a smooth surface that creaks lightly underfoot, a path that invites contemplation but forbids entry into the garden itself. This space is not designed for interaction but for observation, a profound difference that whispers the garden's secrets quietly, asking you to listen with your eyes. The gravel has been meticulously raked before dawn, the paths still visible like nature's own calligraphy. The careful lines weave throughout the landscape with a precision that speaks to the unseen hands of the monks working in the cool darkness while the rest of the world is still dreaming. It's said that they do this not just as a chore, but as a form of meditation, a process as integral to their mourning as the soft light breaking across the horizon. As you stand there, the garden appears, finished, a thought so complete that you might think it sprung from the earth fully formed. Yet beneath this simplicity lies a complexity that those who created it understood well. The stones are placed with intention, some saying they represent islands floating in a sea of gravel. Historians still debate whether they follow a particular pattern, or if the arrangement is deliberately random, left open to interpretation, much like an unfinished poem. A breeze stirs, rustling the leaves, and it feels like the garden itself is breathing. You feel almost suspended, caught in a delicate balance between reality and a dreamscape. It might surprise you to know that many visitors come here expecting something grandiose, only to find a garden that resists spectacle offering, instead tranquility, wrapped in an enigma. You take a deep breath, letting the calm wash over your senses. The porch becomes a barrier and a lens, sharpening your focus on what lies just beyond reach. This is no ordinary experience. It pulls at threads of your consciousness, urging you to explore the unseen. Picture the monks who arrived here centuries ago, cloaked in robes, and silence shaping the landscape in tandem with their own thoughts. Did they find peace in each sweep of the rake, each pinch of gravel adjusted just so? Or did they grapple with the futility of trying to perfect something that defies completion? The light shifts subtly, catching a new angle off the stones, illuminating the precise shadows that cloak these enigmatic forms. You can't help but muse that this garden, like so much in history, might have been built not to last, but to be perpetually reborn with each careful raking at dawn. These questions linger in your mind, woven into the garden's narrative as naturally as the patterns in the gravel. The garden's true message lies not in answers, but in the perpetual asking, the knowing that some riddles are meant to remain unsolved. You start to see the porches around you as seats of contemplation, just as they were intended. People have been sitting here for generations, reflecting on both the simplicity and intricacy of life. The thought dances just out of reach, like a koi fish flirting with the surface of a pond. A reminder that while you can come close, some depths are yours to merely ponder. And just like those visitors before you, you may never physically enter the garden, but a part of you certainly delves deep into its essence. It's as if you've become a part of its story, your own perspectives and thoughts contributing to the ongoing narrative. In this garden, as in life, every ending is a beginning. As the day grows warmer and the light stronger, you suspect the garden is trying to tell you something timeless. Just like the forgotten artists who drew Zen gardens with their rakes shaping nature's floor. Without ever leaving a name, you may find that the effort itself, rather than the outcome, holds the deepest peace and the truest clarity. And as you reflect these threads of thought and history, it's comforting to consider that the monks too might have found satisfaction in weaving their unseen efforts into the beautiful tapestry of time. So as you take one last lingering look at the peaceful, enigmatic space before you, Ryonji offers an invitation not to enter, but to linger in its memory, where you might find the serenity you seek, not in answers, but in the gentle embrace of the unknown. You're gently placed at the desk of a quiet, peaceful room. The air lightly buzzes with a sense of stillness, as if inviting you to lean in and listen closely to its secrets. Flickering candlelight dances on the walls, painting abstract patterns that whisper stories of centuries past. You're surrounded by soft textures, a plush cushion beneath you, layers of delicate silk curtains, diffusing the light into a dim, comforting haze. In front of you rests a small, shallow tray, an unassuming canvas awaiting your touch. Nestled in this sand-filled basin lies a tiny garden, not much larger than a teacup. It's a microcosm of peace meticulously crafted to capture the essence of nature itself. This is a kare-sansui, or dry garden, an ephemeral world where simplicity speaks volumes. You let your fingers brush the surface of the sand, the grains escaping from beneath your touch, a singular texture that invites you to dive deeper into the purpose behind this miniature landscape. Its creation is an art form practiced by monks whose calm dedication allows no room for haste. In this exercise of patience, every grain has its place, much like pieces of a much larger puzzle. It's here in the quiet pause between breaths that you feel history tracing back through your fingertips. You recall hearing that these gardens first emerged in Japan during the Muromachi period, a time when Zen Buddhism heavily influenced art and architecture, urging the world to seek tranquility in simplicity. Imagine monks with hands calloused from tending to the world beyond these gardens, now tenderly combing through the sand with intricate sculpted combs, straightening lines, and creating swirls that mimic stones in a riverbed. As you steady your hand over the tray, you reach for a tiny wooden rake, its design as thoughtful as the garden itself. How interesting it is to think that somewhere perhaps still beneath the roof of a serene monastery, monks engage in this art, guided by tradition and a reverence for the ephemeral. Historians you remember still debate whether these gardens were meant more for contemplation or meditation, a distinction as fluid as the sand beneath your rake. You pause, letting your glance drift over to the polished stones resting beside the tray. Small yet significant, they will serve as focal points in your landscape, much like ancient boulders towering amid vast terrains. Their placement is far from arbitrary. Each stone's curve and texture subtly whisper stories of distant mountains and forgotten streams. You carefully pick one up with a pair of diminutive tweezers. Its cool, smooth surface chills your fingers for a heartbeat. As you gently position a stone within the garden's sandy expanse, you recall an unusual detail. Despite the stones appearing entirely random and naturally placed, there is an unwavering rule that fewer than 16 should be visible at any one angle. Oh, but the patience it must take to perfect such art. You place another, angling it, just so its presence there, feeling both right and significant. In this place of tranquility, the world outside fades into a gentle hum, just a passing backdrop to your moment of quiet creation. You are an artist of serenity, constructing a space where even a tiny ripple in the sand becomes a profound gesture. You think of how another might approach this task, perhaps adjusting the stones slightly or drawing the rake with a different rhythm. Each interpretation tells a distinct narrative, yet all aim for the same goal: balance and peace. Here in this little world, you've crafted the essence of Zen, wraps around you like a soft blanket on a chilly night. You breathe deeply, feeling contentment descend like a feather's caress. A story ancient yet alive flows not just from your hands into the sand, but from the sand back into your being. Gradually, you lift the tiny rake from the sand, resting for a moment to survey the landscape you've brought to life. A whispered conversation, now imprinted in gentle waves, stones, and curves. This little garden, much like the enduring nature of a lullaby, echoes as quietly as breath. You find yourself nestled deeper into the calm every detail now, only an echo, barely a whisper, a gentle reminder of the simple, profound beauty that can be crafted in something so small and quiet. A soothing sensation envelops your senses, as if the garden and the stories, nestled within its grains, have quietly lulled you into a realm of deep tranquility. Now let these soft contemplations carry you over the threshold, into calm and gentle rest, your mind and body cradled by silence. The garden lies before you, quiet and still, cradled in the afternoon sun, mirroring your own gentle breaths. In the way of Zen gardens, it presents a world that is both contained and endless, a simple arrangement of stone and sand that whispers secrets with every breeze. As you step closer, the shifting of your weight leaves the softest imprint in the gravel path, a natural, unplanned mark, much like life itself. Historians often ponder the origins of Zen gardens. Some assert they were artistic pursuits by monks seeking enlightenment. Others believe they served as tranquil retreats from the tumult of feudal Japan. Yet, like the lines raked into the sand, the truth traces paths into the unknown, meandering through centuries. As you consider this, a singular red leaf drifts lazily from its branch, alighting on the coarse white gravel. A punctuation mark or perhaps a footnote in the text of the garden. Moving deeper into the garden, you observe the stones robust and timeless. Some are carefully chosen to symbolize mountains, others islands in a sea of sand. Each placement deliberate, each angle a thoughtful meditation. Perhaps the most famous of such gardens is the one at Ryoanji in Kyoto, renowned for its enigmatic arrangement of 15 stones, yet from any vantage point, only 14 can be seen at once. The secret of the 15th stone eludes you as you ponder its position, hidden just out of reach, a mystery that has captivated countless minds. In winter, the scene transforms. Snow falls in hushed confetti, blanketing the ground, merging earth and sky into a canvas of quietude. The patterns in the sand are softened and muted by the frost, their crisp lines blurred into gentle waves. The air is imbued with a chill that sharpens your senses, the garden's minimalism intensified by the stark beauty of the season. These moments, while never scripted, are met with open arms, accepted for their fleeting grace. You recall a surprising detail you've read. Zen gardens sometimes incorporate materials brought in from distant places, a connection, tracing tendrils of influence from different worlds into the serenity of the garden. Just as histories twist together, these elements are woven into the singular narrative of this tranquil ground. And within this space, the garden finds ways to rewrite itself with each passing moment every season, a testament to the adaptability and resilience of nature. As autumn paints the garden in hues of gold and crimson, the vivid colors are reflected in pools of water scattered like mirrors on the earth. The garden's simplicity is both a backdrop and a foreground presenting nature's art, full of its own kind of drama, the kind that requires no applause, only appreciation. You watch the clouds drift by, mirrored with perfect clarity in a serene pond, and wonder if the monks of old found similar solace in such scenes. The unique stillness is occasionally ruffled by a wandering breeze, like an impromptu visitor politely adjusting a misplaced stone or brush of sand. Historians have often debated whether the original purpose of these gardens was purely aesthetic or served a deeper philosophical meaning. Yet in their understated elegance, they whisper a form of truth that transcends historical certainty. As twilight descends, a veil of indigo slowly unfurls over the garden, and a gentle breeze carries with it the scent of pine and juniper, an aromatic reminder that the world within this space is alive even as it rests. The few lanterns peeping through the dark cast a warm, inviting glow, their flickering flames alight in a dance older than any story told. You find a comfortable seat on a smooth stone bench, letting the rhythmic symphony of the natural world seep into your consciousness, each note encouraging you to drift further into the warmth of the night's embrace. If you close your eyes, you can almost hear the whispers of history carried on the wind, tales unfurling like leaves upon the water. In this place of peace, where the flow of sand mimics wind over dunes and water over stones, the garden invites each visitor to become part of its story. Without judgment or expectation, it offers a simplicity that is profound yet elusive, a gentle echo of the cyclical nature of life itself. As the night deepens, stars dot the sky with their eternal presence, each one a point in an endless universe, much like the countless thoughts that drift through our minds. The garden serves as your sanctuary, a place where you can let go of burdens, if only for a moment, and rest in the embrace of nature's subtle dance. Here, as the world slumbers around you, the garden continues its quiet evolution. In this seamless tapestry of calm and contemplation, you find yourself yielding to the gentle pull of rest, where the day's journey can softly settle, and the lines of thought become as smooth as the sand in a quiet garden. The garden writes itself anew with each turn of the moon, each fall of a leaf, every flake of snow whispering stories that might never be told yet always felt with the heart. And so, with the harmonious lull of the garden cushioning you, you drift ever so softly into sleep, your spirit gently wrapped in its tranquil charm. The rake glides through the garden of sand, leaving behind a pattern that seems to whisper of a past life. You move with rhythm, the wooden handle connecting you to the earth in an ancient dance. The monks nearby talk in hushed tones. They often compare this meditative act to remembering a forgotten dream. The swirls and lines you craft seem to emerge from some place deep within you, not quite following logic, not entirely random. It's almost as if the pattern is guiding your hand, a silent song from history itself. As you work, the sun dips lower, casting long shadows across the sand. Later, you step back to admire your work. The garden now looks as if the sand always wanted to be this way, inevitable and serene, designed by an invisible hand, long before you ever touched it. It's a fascinating thought, really. The inevitability of patterns, sand and time, and how they align. This place, this quiet temple nestled in the mountains, holds stories older than the winds that whisper through the trees. Some pieces of history are well documented, like the fact that Zen Buddhism, with its peaceful monasteries and rich traditions, started spreading its roots in Japan around the 12th century. Yet there are always curious little mysteries hidden in the folds of time, just like those patterns in the sand. Near the edge of your freshly raked garden sits a worn stone statue of a monk, weathered by centuries of wind and rain. The silent figure seems to watch over your work, holding secrets in its stone eyes. You can't help but wonder if those distant monks ever imagined that people in the future would be as captivated by the art of sand gardens as they were. And historians still debate whether these gardens were intended for meditation or as displays of aesthetic brilliance. As you reflect, your mind drifts further back in time. You remember hearing about an odd piece of history involving Emperor Camus, who is said to have commissioned the construction of the capital city of Heian-kyo, or modern-day Kyoto, with all the ambition of a ruler determined to leave a mark on the world. There's an unusual legend, one that suggests he nearly chose another location entirely. Imagine if he had how different history might have unfolded. It's peculiar details like these that history loves to hide away, like small treasures nestled in the sands of time. As the day slowly edges towards dusk, the breeze brushes lightly against your skin, like the gentle hands of the monks raking their gardens centuries before. You find comfort in the cyclical nature of things, how time spins like the patterns you've created, how history repeats, echoing softly through every grain of sand you touch. You think back to the conversations you've overheard from the monks. They speak of time as if it were an old friend, something to welcome into each moment with a knowing smile. It's a lesson in patience and presence, reminiscent of meditative lessons imparted through generations. There's light sarcasm in how they liken this process to letting go of the day's worries, gently placing them aside as they watch the rake move through the sand. And as you stand there absorbed in the tranquil beauty of the garden, you're reminded once more of the debate among historians regarding the true purpose of these gardens. Some argue that they served as a visual allegory of the sea, while others believe the simplicity of the designs was meant to instill clarity of mind in those who tended to them. Regardless, both views agree on the serenity they inspire, an undeniably universal experience. The garden sits still, each grain of sand now resting in its place, whispering tales of its own. The monks eventually gather to inspect your work, offering silent nods of approval, as if triumph and gratitude are not just yours, but shared with them and with those from centuries past. Somewhere in the heart of this peaceful temple, an ancient bell chimes softly in the evening air, slow and lingering like a lullaby. The harmony of the moment wraps around you, allowing you to lay down the rake, gently stepping away from the scene, even as a part of you remains with the patterns formed beneath the setting sun. It's a night to remember, a night of dreams and stories set against the backdrop of sand and history. And as you drift into your own dreams, you carry with you the echoes of the garden, where each pattern speaks its truth, eternal and undisturbed, waiting for the next pair of hands to guide it anew. The monks in their robes tread silently across the garden, a picture of serenity amid the backdrop of an ancient temple. Their movements are deliberate and unhurried as they rake the sand with wooden tools, creating swirling patterns that intertwine gracefully like musical notes, writing a silent symphony on the earth's canvas. You watch intently, as if each grain of sand holds the history of 1,000 stories, each one echoing through time with the softest whisper. Here time feels different, stretching like the gentle unfurling of a scroll to reveal the hidden art of patience. In this sacred space, the monks perform their ritual with care. Each circle carved into the sand is a quiet monument to lives past, their unspoken names gently cradled by the curves of the garden. It's said that these patterns serve both as prayers and as meditations. An abbot once spoke of the garden as a place that holds sorrow, not to erase it, but to cradle it tenderly until those who grieve can draw a full breath again. You're reminded of a curious fact. As you watch, the practice of using sand gardens like these isn't just an artistic endeavor, but a form of dynamic meditation. Zen practitioners, much like these monks, believe these acts ground them, allowing their thoughts to settle. Sand gardens, originally developed centuries ago in Japan, have quieter roots compared to more bustling forms of expression. This silence, however, speaks volumes. The mystery of how exactly these gardens originated their inspirations and forms are often debated by art historians. Some suggest these grounded expressions were influenced by ancient Chinese garden traditions. Others point to sacred Indian mandalas. Still, what remains is the universal truth of their peaceful layout. The Grand Abbot, with a knowing smile, gently embarks upon a tale from his own past, seamlessly weaving the history of the gardens with his experiences. His voice, a soothing melody of wisdom, carries traces of humor that somehow feel daringly modern, despite his sage-like persona. He talks about how during one of their temple ceremonies set on embracing a new season, everyone veered off their set roles when an unplanned gust of wind altered the day's intricate sand display. It might have been calamity for the artist, but the monks embraced it with laughter, letting the natural forces create their own art. You start to wonder about this phase of life, and how something as simple as an arrangement in sand can symbolize both fragility and resilience. In the carefully drawn circles lies a gentle reminder of both beginnings and endings. Each mark an individual trail, perfect in its temporary state, an ephemeral masterpiece. Here in the company of monks and sand, you experience profound tranquility, a light-hearted sarcasm underscoring your deep reflections, much like realizing that perhaps life is like constructing a sand sculpture by a shore. No matter how grand, it is bound to transform with the tide. Historians might speculate endlessly about the origins of these practices, but they seem to collectively agree on one thing: the purpose of the garden is to create stillness. Yours is a gentle amazement at the monk's ability to channel intention so simply and quietly. One circle at a time, they do what seems nearly impossible: peacefully accept change and impermanence. It's a unique twist on mastery, not dwelling in permanence, but reveling in fleeting beauty. As light wanes beyond the horizon, casting an amber glow over the garden, you're struck with a new sense of appreciation, not just for the serene environment around you, but for the quieter lessons persisting through these spaces. This bedtime journey is an invitation into reflection, approaching the gentle sway of trees. As they wave goodbye to the day, you take solace in remembering that some stories are written in sand, witnessed by sentinels of the past, unnoticed by the passing world, yet eternal in their quiet grace. This moment of calm is tucked away like an evening prayer, a lullaby wrapped in whispers of yesterdays and the hopes of tomorrow. You know that the wisdom gathered here, one scoop of sand at a time, is something you'll carry delicately to wherever dreams might take you next. You find yourself in the heart of a serene garden where the past echoes in every rustle of leaves and sway of pine needles. On some days, the rake leans against the shed, content in its stillness, not out of neglect but reverence. This is a space where time both stalls and continues, weaving with every whisper of the wind. Patches of sunlight filter through the tall pine trees, painting the ground with a quilt of dappled gold. You take a step, and the soft earth cushions your footfall. It's peaceful here. No urgency, just the slow, deliberate tick of nature, telling its own story. Wind prints unfold across the soil, ghostly footfalls of the unseen breeze. These patterns are not erased by a rake today, for they are a record of the garden's silent symphony. Historians might ponder the significance of these marks, much like they do with ancient trails. Some argue they are nature's own handwriting, a record of the day's gentle winds. Nearby, black-feathered crows leave tracks like little scroll marks on parchment. It is said that crows have memories as vast as the Library of Alexandria, a marvel of the ancient world. They're known to hold grudges and favor those who show them kindness, a peculiar kinship between bird and human. You're reminded of the myth that perhaps those crows are more than they appear, perhaps carriers of secrets from days long past. Pine needles, crisp and green, gather in clusters, their sharp ends glistening with the remnants of morning dew. In Japanese culture, these needles are seen as symbols of longevity and resilience, just as samurai were portrayed steadfast and enduring. Such connections weave a richer tapestry of meaning in your surroundings. You listen closely, and the whispers of past conversations seem to hang in the air. The garden speaks a quiet dialogue between elements, speaking without the need for human replies. Not unlike the enigmatic stone circles across Britain, their true purposes still widely debated among scholars. This garden holds mysteries that remain unspoken. Each element here has its own narrative, adding layers to the inherent saga, unfolding silently. The air is thick with stories of those who once sat amongst these trees, wondering about the lives of those who might come after. And as you stand in this timeless space, you realize that even if no one answers, even if no human voice breaks the stillness, the garden's story continues growing deeper with each passing moment. At night, the garden holds its breath. You find yourself standing on the edge of a vast gravel-strewn space moonlight, casting delicate shadows across carefully raked patterns. It's as if the garden hovers between breaths, a serene pause that stretches infinitely into the night. No rake disturbs the surface now, and no monk walks its paths, their deep footsteps temporarily absent. Yet you feel the life within it, as if the gravel beneath you can recall every hand that shaped it, the silence wrapped around it as natural as the stars in the sky. You lean forward almost involuntarily, trying to catch the ancient whispers of the sand. If you listen closely, perhaps beneath the cosmic backdrop, you might hear the softest lullabies playing out stories only dreams can truly understand. Here under the starry dome, you are seamlessly connected to times long past, as if the garden itself could unfurl ages of contemplation for you alone. In the stillness, a fact surfaces in your mind. Zen gardens, or kare-sansui, have existed since medieval Japan. Traditionally, they serve as aids to meditation, their stark landscapes symbolizing deeper truths. Some records suggest that the first garden landscapers were influenced by Chinese artistic ideals brought over by traveling monks. Yet historians still debate whether these monks intended the gardens to reflect the chaotic unpredictability of nature or to impose a sense of human order upon it all. Regardless, the arrangement whispers secrets of both art and philosophy. The sand's capacity to hold memory seems almost magical, doesn't it? Here you stand among meticulously placed stones and softer textures, pondering not just their physical placement, but their silent histories. Legend has it the monks used specific patterns that mimic water flowing around islands. And if you squint just right, the moonlit sand begins to ripple in imaginary currents. But wait, there's an unexpected element buried in this serenity. During the Edo period, some gardens contained hidden messages known only to the eyes trained sufficiently in subtle Asian philosophy. These encoded secrets, perhaps too faint to be seen among stark raked lines, remind you that beauty often conceals more than it reveals. As you breathe in this night, you can't help but imagine a silent dance once performed under starlit skies on this very gravel. The essence of mindfulness resonates in every grain underfoot, each one contributing to a frozen symphony enacted by countless mindful hands. You wonder, could you leave your own mark here? Or would any attempt feel almost irreverent? Your senses heighten, aware of the gravel's comforting crunch, whispering stories beneath still feet, while somewhere in the heavens stars twinkle with conspiratorial agreement. This quiet sanctuary allows a brush with serenity, allowing you the luxury to simply exist in profound simplicity. As these thoughts drift alongside moonbeams, you think back to how the garden has been influenced by philosophy and practicality over centuries. There's a historical note. Gravel paths were often designed to acoustically alert occupants of approaching visitors. An unexpected detail in a world simple at first glance, but rich in layers. Each moment holds a gentle question. What stories does the sand grieve silently? For what memories does its shifting surface try to retain? Gazing around you, let the surroundings lull you into a near meditative state, the night gradually unwinding any latent tension. Here, under the eternal watch of the sky, the garden holds you in quiet reassurance that some mysteries are best left untouched, leaving you with the serenity of not needing to solve them. Instead, you can bask in the comfort of simply appreciating the balance the garden maintains. Nurture subtle curiosity about its elusive past, and yet find peace in its silent present. As the night draws deeper, your breathing matches the garden's own. It feels as if even the stars exhale with you. As you embrace this mysterious place, a realization arises. All places like this, gardens of contemplation and quiet, offer solace, precisely because they let you wrap yourself in solitude, simplicity, and untouched thoughts. In these hush-filled moments, you become the keeper of secrets told by the gravel, until fatigue gently invites you to drift into dreams. Whilst the earth duvets you with memories, remember always that whispers from the cosmos are best heard with the ears of a heart willing to listen.